Record to the, okay. All right, so hello everyone, welcome. This is the Raising Oak Cliff, the ABCs of Education. My name is Amanda Ryder. I believe this is the fourth year of this conversation. I'm starting to lose track. But as I was saying earlier, as people were joining, I really feel like this is a really important conversation to be had at a neighborhood level. We all live in the same place, and so we either have to commute out or talk about our neighborhood schools. But the whole, in my personal opinion, the application process of or even just the DISD process of understanding what the possibilities are to you as a family in Dallas are slightly overwhelming. We moved here almost 6 years ago, and I went to public schools in the area, and for me it was really important to support my public schools. So I just knew off the bat that that's what I wanted to do. But then when I started hearing how DISD works, it just really became overwhelming. So for me, having this conversation is super important. Before we get started, I do want to introduce Laura. She has been my Methodist partner for the past couple of years. She's the director of community and public relations for Methodist Dallas. They have been a great supporter of Raising Oak Cliff, and they're our community partner. And so I just wanted to give her a few moments to talk and let you know a few things about what's going on at Methodist right now.
Thanks, Amanda. Good evening, everyone. As Amanda mentioned, I am the community director for Methodist Dallas Medical Center, and I've been in this role about 3 years. Got to know Amanda really well through Raising Oak Cliff and multiple events that she's put together along with her team. And just as she said that it's important to support our public schools and have a conversation at the neighborhood level, that's kind of been our idea or our principle at the hospital is to reach out to residents, keep them informed about medical services, keep in touch with them, and let them know that we're their local neighborhood hospital here in Oak Cliff. And working with Raising Oak Cliff accomplishes that goal, we believe. And there are two things I wanted to just briefly mention. The first one is that we're opening a new primary care clinic in Oak Cliff on Davis Street and Tyler. It's going to be in that area where we have the Joy Macarons. We used to have Oil and Cotton. We have our Davis Street Espresso. It's right next door. You should see already the building has our Methodist sign there. The clinic was supposed to open actually on January 17th. That date was pushed back. So that's the update I wanted to give, is that please keep checking. I'm putting the website for that clinic into the chat here in a minute, and you should be hearing from us pretty soon on a new opening date for that clinic. And why it's super important, why we want to talk to Raising Oak Cliff, is that it will have 2 primary care doctors there that are also pediatricians. So you can take care of all your family all in one visit when you go to this clinic in the very near future. And Amanda is showing us, thank you so much for showing us our website. We'll put it in the chat as well. And that is my first update. My second update is that the position for my job will be opening up soon, because I am leaving the hospital to pursue another opportunity. But I actually found out about the position through parent group that I belong to. Somebody brought it up there during one of our meetings. And I just have to say, it's a great job to make an impact at the community local level. You get to meet so many people and participate in so many community focused activities that I encourage people like you who are on this call. You obviously love your neighborhood and want to stay here and want to be more involved. And so I will put my email in the chat as well for you to contact me if you're interested. The position will be soon, and I can keep you updated about that if you send me a note and an email. So those were my 2 updates. Thank you, Amanda, again, for being such a wonderful collaborator and partner. And I hope to, oh, final note, I already submitted my DISD application for my son. He's going to kindergarten. And I'm really excited to hear about the biomed school at UT Southwestern. That's currently our top choice. My husband is a professor there, so we hope to stay there. And I graduated from there, so I'm very excited to see that and hear from Dr. Gonzalez what they have planned. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Laura. So I just wanted to give one other person an opportunity to chat to this group. It is our current Dallas ISD District 7 board trustee. His name is Ben Mackey. And so if you haven't met him before, I want to make sure that you get the opportunity to see him, and he can talk a little bit about what's been going on the past couple of years.
Thank you, Amanda. Good evening. It's great to see so many familiar and new faces on the call. My name is Ben Mackey. I'm the school board trustee here for District 7, which includes most of North and Central Oak Cliff, all the way out towards Cockrell Hill, and a little sliver of West Dallas. And it's our role as trustees to be able to help be a liaison between the community and the direction of the district. And so I am so thankful. I want to give a big thank you to Raising Oak Cliff, to Amanda, to all the other members who have helped make this phenomenal organization that brings parents together to help answer these questions, because that's one of the, oftentimes scariest, but also most important decisions is what are we doing with our kids? Where are we sending them to school? I am a huge believer in Dallas ISD. Before I served on the board of Dallas ISD, I was actually a principal at one of our schools here at Townview for 6 years. And I just truly in my heart know that the directions that Dallas ISD is going is a great direction. We've got so many amazing schools. You hear a lot about choice and magnet schools, but we've also got phenomenal neighborhood schools right here in Oak Cliff and across the city. So it is my hope that for all of you parents who are here to explore these schools, you chat with everyone, you explore those options. I'm going to be right here in the waiting room, I believe, with Amanda. So if people have questions for me, I'm happy to answer any individual questions with that. But I do want to just make two notes that I think oftentimes might have gotten lost in translation. The first is, while we definitely have magnet and choice schools that you can apply to, and there's different application or admissions processes for those, most people don't know that Dallas ISD is also an open transfer district, meaning if you want to send your kid to another neighborhood school that's not your neighborhood school, for whatever reason, it might have a special program or might be an easier drive, it might next be where you work and it's an easy drop off for you, you are able to submit a transfer application to go to that school, regardless if it has a magnet or a choice option. And if there's space there, it's automatic. You just are able to go. So I think that's something worth exploring. I know we've got tons of great schools, all with slightly different focuses and backgrounds and areas. So there's tons of options out there, even beyond the list of magnet and choice schools. Second of all, it has been a lot. There are magnet schools, there are choice schools. People get worried about all of the different ins and outs of it. But Dallas ISD, I think last year was the first year we have a new application process, which is a one-stop shop for everything. So you don't have to worry about trying to go to a whole lot of different application portals. You go to one place and you can rank the schools you're most interested, neighborhood, magnet, or choice. And so that allows you as a parent to stop worrying so much about like, well, when is this process and where do I go here? But instead just focus on exploring the schools and trying to identify what is the best fit for your kid. So again, super excited for this. I know this is a tough choice, but it's an exciting choice. And I'm also want to point out that we do have our pre-K department here. So even if you are parents that have really young students that aren't school aged yet, Dallas ISD has pre-K3 and pre-K4 options here in our city and in our neighborhood. So feel free to talk to our pre-K team and find out what that looks like at a number of schools. So with that, thank you, Amanda, for having me. Glad to be here, and we'll be here throughout the time to be able to answer any questions. And I will also be putting my cell phone number and my email in the chat. So if you have questions, you can feel free to reach out directly to me.
Thank you, Ben. Kay, I see you raised a hand. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Kay.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
I know a lot of us saw the news today that Dr. Hinojosa is planning to step down. What is the best way for us to kind of follow the process as the district starts searching for a new superintendent?
Yes, thank you. I knew that was going to come up tonight. So yes, I'm aware, news leaked today that Dr. Hinojosa is considering and will likely submit his retirement or resignation tomorrow to the board, which we do expect. But so I'll have a lot more details tomorrow. But overall, this is not going to be something where he disappears tomorrow and we're left in a lurch. Dr. Hinojosa is going to be with the district for as long as it takes to identify an excellent replacement. We're going to take our time to make sure we get the right person in here. So we've got the entire spring to be able to do that. But so much of the wonderful work that's been happening on our campuses and in our district will remain continuous throughout this process. So you should not experience any sort of disruptions. But to your last question, how do we stay abreast of the process? How do we get involved? There will be a process that will involve community panels for people to provide feedback on what they might be looking for. Those will take place throughout the coming, I would say, next 1 or 2 months is my guess. But I'll have more details on that shortly once we are able to put together the actual specific process. But the best way to stay informed about that is I send a newsletter out every single month about what's coming up, what we're doing, any updates from the district. I'd be happy to add anyone to that newsletter. That's a way to get direct information from me, and you can just respond back to that and ask me other questions. And then, of course, all of the Dallas ISD social media channels and the website dallasisd.org will have a ton of updates as we go through that process.
All right. So Hannah's asking how she can get on the newsletter.
I am in the middle of typing it right now, but you can either private message me it or just type your email into the chat and I will put you on that list right now. It usually comes out at the end or beginning of each month, depending on when the board meeting is.
And I find it super helpful because if you aren't able to attend the 12-hour long board meetings, just kidding, the long board meetings, Ben does do a very good job of recapping what the important topics that were discussed. Okay, and then just on a side note, I've heard that Ben is up for re-election in May, so I haven't heard much else related to our particular district, but on a personal note, it has nothing to do with Raising Oak Cliff. Just a personal note, I really appreciate the amount of communication that Ben has given us over the past couple of years. I know it must be hard to step into a new role, but I think the past couple of years have gone really good for District 7, and I just appreciate everything that you've done for us.
Thank you so much for that, Amanda. And yeah, if anyone has any questions or just wants to talk to me individually about that, I'd be happy to chat with you and set up meetings, but I really appreciate that, Amanda.
Okay, so moving on, there's a few things that I want to talk about Raising Oak Cliff, and then we'll really jump into why we're all here. First things first, about Raising Oak Cliff. So we're a nonprofit here in Oak Cliff. And one of the really important things for the organization is that we have a fundraising arm. And we have managed to raise some funds over the past couple of years. You know, it's been kind of a crazy past couple of years, but we have managed to raise some funds and we have officially opened our grants program. And so I too will put this in the chat. You would go to this link, raisingoakcliff.com/grants. It's currently open to District 7 schools. So if you go to the website in the current mapping of our District 7, you can see which schools land in District 7. And then you can scroll down and you can see sort of how we are thinking of the grant program, some requirements, some asks, and then if you scroll further down, you can apply for the grant down here. In the previous year that we gave out money, we gave out around $6,000. So I think, this is worthy of any programs that you're trying to start within District 7. Some of the examples that we've given money to in the past was we've given a couple of $100s to a band repair kit, a band repair kit tool kit. So that way the school didn't have to send the instruments off to another location. They were able to fix the instruments on campus. Another one was one of the schools wanted to add some more playground activities because there wasn't really a lot to do on the playground. And a couple of other scholarships went to some high school students who were part of a financial literacy program. And then we also bought some mirrors for Quintanilla Middle School because their dance program was growing too big for the space that they were currently in. So we have a wide range of opportunities that we'll consider. But I did want to make sure that everyone on the call was available, knew that this was open and available to District 7 schools. The deadline is March 18th. So that way, if someone needed some extra time over spring break to apply, this is available. And sort of the last pitch for Raising Oak Cliff, we have a board, and I believe this is our 4th year of operation. The one thing that we could really use this year that we don't have currently is a treasurer. So if you know anyone, it could be anyone. It doesn't necessarily have to be a family. It could be an administrator, but someone who is willing to donate or volunteer 1 hour a month for board meetings. And then anything beyond that is totally up to you, how much you want to get involved. But a treasurer would have to be just a little organized and write a few checks here and there. So if that's interesting to anyone, just shoot me an email. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the education conversation. I think the first place that I want to start is something that the Advocate put together a couple of years ago. Let's see if I can get over here. There's a podcast that I found really helpful whenever I was starting this whole process. I'm pretty sure it's still available. It's called The Uninformed Parent. And the last time that I looked, it was available on, Apple, for Android. But it was the editor at the time, I think she's still technically editor, but Carrie would go and talk to parents across Oak Cliff and just ask them what is helping them make the decision of what school they want to apply to. Obviously, this is a couple of years old, but I think a lot of these conversations are still valid. What helps you decide what's important to you? And just hearing those voices is really what made me decide that just having a one-night conversation, getting everyone together in the same room and having these same sorts of conversations. So I found it really interesting. One of the things that I really appreciated out of that conversation, Carrie says this in the podcast toward the end, but I thought these particular topics were really important. So 7 parent hacks on how to pick the right school. The first one is take a tour of every school. Obviously, that's not really possible right now, right? So we're in a pandemic. What I've noticed is on some of the websites, there are videos posted, so you could sort of see inside the school. I know that must be really hard for some of you that have never been to a school and you're gonna just send your kid into this building and you have no idea where the library is and you can't picture the inside of the classroom. So I encourage you to at least try to go to the websites and see if there's some way to see inside of the school. And also, I know a lot of these schools have been doing virtual open houses. Again, I know it's not the same and hopefully we can get back to that next year. But there are some videos available on each individual websites. As Ben was saying, you can transfer to any, like neighborhood school. I know that I've heard from a lot of families who are zoned for one school, but say they're really interested in what Hog New Tech is doing. Hog is a smaller school, smaller classrooms and classroom sizes. And so they're doing some really innovative things. So just because you live in one place doesn't mean you have to go to your neighborhood school. Obviously, you should check it out because that is the school that you're zoned for. For me, I'm zoned for Rosemont, and we went there for pre-K, and it was great because I could walk there in less than 10 minutes versus jumping in a car and driving 20 minutes, right? So it's just important to know that you can apply for a transfer for any neighborhood school. There are some differences here, and I'm either I can discuss it or maybe a representative from DSD can discuss, but the differences between magnet and choice. There's a handful of magnet schools where you do have to apply, but then on top of that, there is a testing or interview process. I should say an interview process. And then versus the choice schools, which those are more lottery based. So for instance, I decided to send my son to a choice school, and it wasn't like I could just say, okay, I'm going to send my son here. I had to apply. And for Solar Prep for Boys, it's lottery based, and it's a 50-50 socioeconomic difference between, there's the two groups. Right. And so you apply, you fall into one of those two groups, and then there's a lottery process after that. So just understanding the differences between the schools. Number 4 says, don't underestimate convenience. What works best for your family? So again, you have to really consider, am I able to drive? There's another family that I talked to, and we were talking about the different programs that were available in, here, and here. And she said, well, this school really is a better fit for me without really knowing too much about it because of location, right? She wants to be able to be close to the school when she's at work. Number 5 says, don't judge an elementary based on its middle school. So I think people do get wrapped up in the long-term process, but you don't know where you're going to be in 3 years or 4 years or 6 years. So make sure that you are focusing on what you need right now. Number 6, get to know the numbers and then look beyond the numbers, the test scores and demographics. Other numbers to consider: what is the teacher-student ratio? It's amazing to try to dig in and find that information. Some schools are 24-1, and some schools are much smaller than that. There's various climate surveys, how many field trips in a normal year that would be relevant, and how many specials/electives. Specials, for those that aren't familiar with some of the terminology, those are the extra classes beyond the classroom, right? Do you have art? Do you have music? Some schools have dance, so just understand, what does the whole school offer to your family? And then number 7, determine what you value most and what you are willing to compromise. So again, it's just what's important to you and your family. Is it art? I've heard from some families that their kids are musically inclined or have dance is one of their things. So just really try to take in the whole picture and not just what is right in front of you. All right, and then the other thing that I want to show you online is what we have to offer on our website. So we have spent a lot of time, and it looks like I already closed it, but I'll just go here. There's one document that I really want you guys to see. It's under education, raisingoakcliff.com/education. And so at the top, I've posted our information here, but there is a really, really helpful document, frequently asked questions for families navigating DISD school choices. And I know she's not on, but I still have to give a big thank you to Casey Cox. It's someone in the neighborhood who has pulled this together and has maintained it for the past couple of years. I think it's super helpful. I think it's like 6 or 7 pages, but as someone coming into public education for the first time and really trying to understand what are all these words and, you know, what's Montessori and what's magnet, what's neighborhood. And this document here, I think really boils it down. I'm not trying to say anything about the DISD website, but sometimes it's hard to find the information. And so we've tried to collect the information that's relevant to families applying for the first time and posted it on our website. If you want to download it, you can and go through it on your own. And then if you keep scrolling down, this is stuff that we've collected over the years, just as we're going through these sessions. The one thing that I wanted to point out is another mom in the neighborhood created this Google Doc on her own. She created this chart that basically says, what's important to me, right? Is it distance? Is it, I think there's one column that says lighting, specials. So just taking a chart and really comparing all the schools between them as you're going through and learning all of this stuff. So I just wanted to point that out as well. So on this website here, there's a lot of helpful information if you scroll through it. And then lastly, I just sort of wanted to go through my experience. You know, again, it is a little overwhelming as you're coming into it. My son went to a local private early childhood center, and I knew that I was ready for him to move into the public school world when he was 4 turning 5. And so for me, we went to Rosemont and I had to pay tuition that year. But it was really a good way for us to get an introduction to Dallas ISD. You know, once you get into the schools, you start learning even more acronyms and just trying to understand how everything works. Pre-K was great for me. It was great for my son to really get into the rhythm of what it was like going to school. And then, you know, I was sort of torn about what we wanted to do next. And so just the application, and I want to go ahead and show that while we're talking, is this website here. If you go to dallasisd.org/choose Dallas ISD. Again, there's a ton of information here too. But there's this area toward the top. I'm going to scroll all the way up and then scroll down just a little bit here. And then it says apply now. And this is where you can start the application process. You want to go here if you are going to transfer to a neighborhood school, or if you want to apply to any of these schools that we're talking about tonight. So this is where you would start, and we'll have someone, if you want to stick around and you have questions about the application process, this would also be a good time to talk about that. And I just also want to pitch that there is Dallas ISD is offering another virtual event on Thursday, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And you do need to register, and there's a register link here. I have joined many of these virtual expos, and they are very helpful. Also, typically during that time, there are people available to, again, help you with the application process. So I encourage you, if you have any questions related to that, it's a really good time to get sort of that one-on-one time. So I went through the application process. You do have to provide quite a few documentation of, you know, where you live, things like that. But for me, I felt like it was, I wanted my son to go to Solar Prep for boys. I was able to go on a tour, and I felt like it offered the things that I was looking for. It's not for everyone. I put my son on the bus at 7:35 in the morning, and he comes home around 4:30. So it's a really long day, but for those that are curious, there is bus transportation available for those choice schools. It's been a really interesting year having him back in person. We did all virtual last year. So that bus experience, he's learned a lot on. So, but you know, it's been good. And there are other options that we considered as well. But I, again, wanted to bring everyone together to have an opportunity to chat about this. I'm ready to open this up to some others that just want to jump on and speak. If you want, if we can start with the early childhood and we can talk about that, what it looks like to apply and maybe what some of the schools in the neighborhood that are available. I have to be honest, I learned today, I didn't know that Hog New Tech has pre-K 3 and pre-K 4. So I'm sure there's some others in the neighborhood that are available as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Amanda. My name is Isiana Ramirez, and I am the Director of Family Community Engagement and Early Learning. So part of my work is I oversee the pre-K enrollment and registration process for our district. And yes, you're correct. There's quite a bit, as our trustee mentioned earlier, we have quite a bit of neighborhood schools that also have specialized programs. I think we have a couple of principals here. And of course, with our transformation and our innovative schools, I'll also be able to have a great thing. So yes, Hog actually does have a full day pre-K 3 program. So we have quite a few in the community and parents are interested. We just started, we piloted last year and we were able to grow the program this year to be able to offer full day pre-K 3 at selected schools. We're still operating the half-day program at a larger quantity of schools, but we do have quite a bit of schools. Also, we have a very unique process where it's currently right now, as you probably see our billboards in the back, is we're actually marketing and advertising our transformation or our choice schools where families can apply for a selected school, just like you mentioned about your little one that's going to Solo Prep for Boys. And they're actually being able to apply for the program. And then once they receive that accepted letter where they can accept or deny, then they'll be able to actually apply for pre-K on April 1st, like we did last year. So some of the new programs that we do have that that are new out in the community are full day pre-K 3 is some are nearby in your area, some are a little bit further out, but yes, Hog happens to be one that offers full day pre-K 3 and full day pre-K 4. And they're in a unique situation because they're actually partnered with our child care provider for the infant and toddler that's there too. So they actually provide infant and toddler plus full day pre-K 3 and full day pre-K 4, which is our only school in the district that's actually designed that way. Closer schools in the area that offer full day pre-K 3, it's also Clinton P. Russell, that's not too far from there. We have Peeler, I think that also offers full day pre-K 3, and that's actually new to this year. The Zavala offers full day pre-K 3, which is more like a Montessori style. It's closer to the West Dallas area. And of course, we have our transformation schools where we have, Onesimo Hernandez, Ida B. Wells. We have Prestonwood, which is a little further up in the north. We have Eduardo Mata, which is White Rock Lake. We Urban Park, which is a little bit further to the east. So we have quite a bit of options for families, depending where, like you mentioned earlier, Amanda, where they work or where they live, and we're able to provide some of those services. Now, I will add, though, a lot of families don't know, like you mentioned earlier. So if our families need to qualify, they can qualify by either the state qualifiers. But if a family doesn't qualify by our state qualifiers, we actually offer a Dallas ISD tuition scholarship. And so what the scholarship is, you go, well, by the TA qualifiers, is the parent either qualifies by economically disadvantaged or income, language, if the family's homeless or the child's in foster care, or the parent has an active military parent, or the child of STAR Texas Award recipient. But if a family doesn't actually qualify by any of those, then we actually have our pre-K scholarship, which is one is our achievement gap, and that would be one. And that is based on our historical academic needs of student population, which in the past few years have been our African-American students. So if a child is African-American, he automatically qualifies for a scholarship. Two, we have expanded the income brackets compared to what our free and reduced lunch is. And then lastly, if the child does not speak English or struggles to understand language, then the parent has the right to request, hey, I would like to evaluate my child with language because he has difficulty understanding and speaking the language. But if a family doesn't qualify for a scholarship, Then we actually have the tuition options like COG, for example, that the parent has the opportunity to still be part of Dallas ISD and still be providing the same type of pre-K, high quality pre-K program across all of our elementary schools, but be able to pay a tuition.
And has that been decided what the cost is next year?
It has not been decided for the upcoming school year. That's actually being discussed currently.
And what is it this year?
This year is $4,100.
For all year?
Yep, so it's $4,100 for all 10 months. It is broken up in 3 options. We either can break it up into 10 monthly payments. We have an option where parents actually pay most of it on the front end and pay less on the back end, or we have parents that can pay a little bit later. So we actually have a contract at these specific schools that parents can review and be able to see which type of option, if they know they're going to be a tuition parent, which would like to pay.
All right, that's super helpful. I also put a link in the chat for all the schools that are available. I feel like there's way more pre-K 3 and pre-K 7 that were available than even like 3 years ago. So that's really. And again, I mean, me personally, I thought it was a great introduction again to DISD in general, but also for my son, just to understand what the process was like of going to school. So super helpful. And now I just wanted to give the opportunity for any other DISD representatives. If if the OTI wanted to talk a little bit about sort of what that process was, if I, didn't hit on anything, or if there's something in particular that you wanted to talk about. Nicole or anybody else?
Great, thank you for having us. I think Nicole will begin and introduce some of our leaders that are on the call as well.
Sure. Good evening again, guys. Could not find my video and mute button. So I am Nicole Bixby. I'm a director in the Office of Transformation and Innovation. And so when we talk about choice schools, the ones that we're referring to with our group are either your neighborhood schools that are innovation schools. And so as a former principal at one of your Oak Cliff schools at Salazar Elementary, and they're actually a personalized learning campus, so I want to give them a shout out. But we also have other neighborhood schools in your neighborhood, like COG that you mentioned earlier, that is the new tech model. And then we have transformation schools that are not neighborhood schools, and they're basically, as Amanda mentioned, like Solar Boys, Solar Girls. We have some proud principals on the line that we'll introduce, but those campuses don't have attendance boundaries. And so you would do the lottery process in order to be selected at those schools. So I will not go any further, and we can maybe introduce some of these principals and they can tell you a little more about their schools, if that's okay. And then if parents have questions, or Amanda, what format do you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that we could just jump into these breakout rooms that I have available.
Okay.
I know I can just see that there are probably more representatives from the schools here and from parents than maybe what we have people from the neighborhood. And so, but I think before we get started, I think what might benefit a lot of the people on the call, as well as people who will be watching the recorded session, Dr. Gonzalez, would you be willing to give a little just highlights of the new school that's opening and sort of the
Sure.
goals that you have in mind, and anything else? Because I think based on anyone else that's on the call, that's sort of the newest, and I've gotten the most questions about your school, to be totally honest.
Sure, and I'm totally available at any time, so you can email me, call me, and I will answer those questions. So the biomedical school is pretty much a partnership between UT Southwestern and Dallas ISD, right? It will open this next school year, but pretty much in August, right? And it's going to be a pre-K 3, one of those, it was missed, but it's coming, pre-K 3 through 8 campus. But in my first year, we're going to offer only pre-K 3 to first grade. And then we're going to increase a year, like on all the way to eighth grade, right? We are in the lottery process. We are following what you said about the solar prep. It's the same format. It's 50-50 social diversity, which means is 50% will be for economically disadvantaged, the other 50% for not. That's the district determined that we don't have anything to do with it. Everybody can apply. The application is open right now, and it will close on January 31st, right? To get a better chance of getting in my school, you put the first choice, my school, and then that will give you a better chance. Because what I don't have is that many positions, those many seats, right? Because I'm working on a vision. Right now, I got a small building, but it's going to be beautiful because it's been redone, and we've been working pretty hard to make it beautiful. So it's going to be an open space in that building that I have, but it's only one pre-K 3 room with 18 seats, one pre-K 4 with 18 seats. So it's 36 for pre-K, right? Then 2 kinder classes and 2 first grade classes, each of those with 22. Anybody can apply. And the focus is the biomedical science, of course, so it's going to be a STEM-based curriculum based on inquiry, but we're going to offer robotics, right? We're going to offer makerspace. We want to create kids that are going to be thinking like scientists at the end, right? So let's say you are that person in the living room that you say like science, we're sometimes scared about the science and the math. So leave that to us. It's going to be a really neat process, and we will include all the parents. So we will have orientation meetings, but pretty much it's going to be a hands-on experience where the students are going to be able to apply what they know at that early age. So Ms. Cardosa is here, and she knows that we have to teach them how to ask questions, how to be curious. You know, as a parent, and I'm a parent of a 3 years old, sometimes they are asking these many questions and we just want to shut them down because we want to do something else. We cannot do that because we're killing curiosity there. So our job as a parent, the only thing I will ask my parents is let them talk and let them answer those questions. Try to figure it out with them. We are there to support. So as any choice school, lottery, same place you chose, you just only need my first, like put the first choice, that would be me.
All right, I
Any
really appreciate
questions?
that. I think I already see one question, but I think, a new school it's really exciting to hear. I also see another new face on here, but give me 1 second. I'm gonna let S. Hawkins a chance to ask a question.
Hi, I have a question for Dr. Gonzalez about the lottery for your school. Are UT Southwestern employees getting preferential treatment on admission, or are they just going into the lottery like everybody else?
You're on mute, Dr. Gonzalez.
Myself, there is a priority list on this, right? There are priorities because it's part of the partnership. But it doesn't mean that you cannot make it, right? We are encouraging everybody participated. So if you are an employee of UT Southwestern and live in the medical district, that will put you in a priority list. But it's the same, let's say, as if you got siblings going to the school, like you got 2 kids, one of them apply and makes it, the other one will have a little preference to see if we can get both of them in the room. But to answer your questions, yes, that is part of the process of the lottery at this moment.
Okay, can you tell me how many seats are available for non-UT?
That I don't have the answer, but I believe is a fair process. It just gives you, I don't know quite how the lottery works because we don't control that lottery. But there is no like a percentage per se that I can tell you right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
From experience of others new schools opening, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in this school, but I've heard from the downtown Montessori that opened a couple of years ago, there was supposed to be a priority for families that worked downtown or lived downtown. And to be honest, like there are families that meet those requirements, but there's also quite a few families like from Oak Cliff. So, just from personal experience, I don't think it'll be full just by UT Southwestern families.
No, I believe that complements pretty much my response. It's open to everybody, and I believe we will have a good mixture of everybody.
One other person that I wanted to give a chance to talk is Principal Jackson. I've read some things recently about the new school that's opening in West Dallas. I didn't know you were going to be here, so I appreciate you jumping on. Carrie Mitchell has actually been a really big advocate of this school that's opening. I didn't know if we were allowed to talk about it because I feel like this is a school that DISD and others are really trying to promote for that neighborhood. But just like we've been talking about, you can apply if there's a school that you're really passionate about, neighborhood school or otherwise. This is your opportunity to apply. And just before I forget, the application process ends January 31st. So it's really important that if you're interested in going to another school outside of your neighborhood school, whether you're transferring or you want to go to any of these other schools that we're talking about, that you apply before January 31st. But I wanted to give Principal Jackson an opportunity to just talk a little bit about her school and perhaps the partnerships that you're having.
Thank you, Amanda. I am Marian Jackson. I am the proud principal at West Dallas STEM School. We are a partnership school with Toyota and SMU. We have a STEM focus, project-based and place-based. There is preference to the West Dallas community, but there is 50% of our seats are reserved for anyone that wants to apply. We too will start with pre-K 3, pre-K 4, 2 sections of kinder and 2 sections of first grade on next year. We're really excited about our industry partners that have signed up to kind of collaborate with us. We have an inquiry-based curriculum. We know that our students learn better when they're able to manipulate things and when they're able to be fully involved and engaged in the process. So I welcome you to visit our website, our Facebook page. I'd love to drop my email in the chat and my phone number as well. I'd love to engage with you one-on-one if you had any more questions. Would like the opportunity to come back to your meeting again if the opportunity presents. And just want you to know that we are here to serve all of the students in Dallas ISD. Would love for some of you to apply to come to West Dallas STEM as well. We believe in making sure that our scholars are prepared with those industry skills that they'll need if they decide to go into the workforce right after high school, or whether they decide to go into college with a STEM focus. We want them prepared for whatever is next for them. And we believe in starting that early on. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I look forward to engaging with any one of you that would like to have a conversation about how our school can be a good fit for your child.
Thank you very much. I'm ready to open the breakout rooms. Before I do that, I just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to ask any questions that maybe the general group might also have, whether it's for the application process, about a particular school, anything related to this conversation before I open the breakout rooms.
Hi, Amanda. I'm Nancy Rubio, magnet coordinator for the district. And I just want to let you know that I'm here to answer any magnet question, application process, selection process for any of the choice schools.
You know what, it might be a really easy thing to talk about really quickly about what makes the magnet schools different than the rest of the options. So I think the ones that we would talk about is Dealey Montessori and Harry Stone Montessori.
Yes, so with the magnet schools do have an eligibility criteria. So students have to meet a certain GPA and a test score requirements to apply. And once they meet those eligibility requirements, they move on into an assessment process for students applying to pre-K 4 through first grade at Dealey or Stone. That is an observation. Those students do not need any grades or or test scores, they just directly apply and all students go into the assessment observation process. But with all our other schools, 4th through 12th grade, we do have that take place at the campus or either virtually. But also with the magnet selection process, we do have a 30-70 formula that we apply. So we do give preference that live within Dallas ISD, and we take the top 30% of students first, that score highest on the assessments, and then we divide the remaining 70% of the seats among the feeder patterns, the 22 feeder patterns.
All right. I appreciate that. I think it is, again, confusing from an outsider's perspective about what all the differences are, because there are other Montessori programs that are not magnets. So it's so much information coming at you. I'm trying to decipher what's what. So I appreciate you putting that out there.
Amanda, may I ask, may I say something for 1 minute?
Of course.
Thank you. And I just want to say, in case people didn't know, because like you said, there's a lot of information. Our school, just so people will know, used to be John H. Reagan Elementary. So if people were wondering, oh, what is this Bishop Arts STEAM Academy? That we were previously John H. Reagan Elementary. So in case people were wondering, and we are right here in the, in District 7, Bishop Arts. And we recently went through a name change with a STEAM focus. So I just wanted to clarify, because we've been having a lot of phone calls asking about, is this a new school? Is this a new program? So we're in the same location, the same building with a STEAM focus. Thank you for letting me clarify.
You're welcome. I love driving by the school and seeing the garden in the back and all the artwork that's back there. So I think there's a lot of interest in your school. Catherine has asked a question: is there a benefit for being in a STEM program for pre-K versus a general pre-K program? I worry about narrowing their exposure too early, but perhaps that's not really an issue. I don't know if there's someone from, a school that could ask that question, or maybe a parent that has sent their child to a STEM program versus a general, neighborhood school. If anyone wants to jump in.
I'll jump in on a general perspective, Amanda. I have an insight, not so much directly to pre-K, and I'm not going to answer this specific to pre-K, but I think this question is always asked by parents. I've heard it from whether you're choosing a school in 3rd grade, in 7th grade, or 9th grade. This question comes up is, what is the difference? Should I choose a STEM program or this program or that program? I would encourage parents at any age, when they're thinking about that for their students, to just think about those focuses as what type of exposure do you want kids to have more of? No matter what program a kid goes to, whether it's a STEM or a fine arts one, kids are going to get the basics of reading, writing, social studies, all of those foundational elements. This is more around, with those elective time periods and that extra space in the day, do you want there to be a more focused exposure in that extra time that's going to lean a little bit more towards STEM or fine arts, or a general program is going to have across the board to kind of balance and difference? So I would think about it in terms of not, well, what's this going to get me to the next step? Think about it in terms of the exposure that your kid is getting during those elective times of the day, whether it's pre-K or 12th grade.
Yeah, and I think that's it's important, because not every school has a STEM or a STEAM focus, but maybe they have, a different program that you're interested in. Maybe, again, I'm reverting back to what I know. I know Rosemont, they are unique because they have a dance program. Not any, you're not going to find that really anywhere else. So each school seems to have their own sort of special thing. Again, I can speak to Solar Prep for Boys. They have a makerspace, and my son loves going to makerspace once a week, and they take anything, whether it's toilet paper rolls or Legos, or they're doing the 3D printing stuff, and that's 45 minutes once a week where they can sit and think about how to build things that are unusual objects. So every school is going to have their special program. Now, maybe multiple schools have the same programs, and then it comes down to where the location is. So anyway, all right, I see that Seychelle had a question or a comment.
Actually, I just had a comment to add on to Ben, because I think he really nailed it. I came from growing up in the suburbs, and we moved into Dallas proper, and it can be overwhelming as a parent looking at all the options that are available for your kids. And my sister-in-law has 2 kiddos that are 5 and 7 years ahead of us that have been Dallas ISD all the way up. And something that was great advice that she gave me was really just try to focus on the next 1 to 2 years for your kid, because their needs may change. You may discover a passion that you didn't know that they had, and you might decide to look at different options, but really just trying to take 1 to 2 years at a time, instead of trying to think about it, especially if you have little bitty ones in pre-K or kinder or first grade, the school district will look really different in 5 to 10 years, and as will maybe your kids' needs and interests at that point too. And that kind of gave me a little bit of okay, as a parent. So I thought I would just pass that along if you guys have little ones.
Perfect. All right, any other general questions or comments before we jump into these breakout rooms? And yes, I'm gonna open it up. I've already created the breakout rooms. So you can choose whatever room that you want to jump into. If you have joined today and there's not a room for you to jump into, you can hang out here and I can create a room, or we can continue the general conversation here. It's totally up to you guys what you want to do. I'll be here until 8 o'clock in case someone has a question. I will jump into the Solar Prep for Boys room just for a little bit in case someone has questions specifically related to that. But in case people drop off, I just want to say thanks again for joining, whether you're a parent representative, a DISD administrator, a principal. I really appreciate you joining the conversation tonight, and hopefully you'll join again next year. I'm really hoping we can get back to an in-person event. I think there's a lot more to gain from meeting people in person, but it's also nice to meet you guys virtually here. All right, so I'll open the rooms and you guys can choose to jump in wherever you want. If you have questions about how to do that, go ahead and unmute yourselves. You can also add any more questions to the chat if you need to. And I really appreciate everyone jumping on. I really like being the administrator. I can see who's in which room. If you guys need help jumping into rooms, let me know.
Hey, Amanda. Christy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure. Am I in a room? Did you assign me to a room, or?
I can assign you to a room.
I don't know what the difference between the breakouts are. It's like how you divided it up.
It's by school name.
Oh, so each school gets,
Yeah, each school has their own room.
Okay.
Amanda, how do you get in the breakout room?
I can send you to one if you'd like.
Can you send me to Dealey?
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
Send
welcome.
me to PL Prep.
I can.
Thank you.
And Christy, PL Prep. All right, Katie, do you want to go to a room?
Well, I was just going to ask you, or someone, how do you figure out just bus transportation, or is that not a thing in Dallas? Because I've even looked, growing up in Atlanta, you rode the bus to school, but it doesn't feel like that's a thing here.
No, it is. So I send my son on the bus. Let me send one person to,
Okay.
what is it? What's the, oh, it's at the top. Okay.
I'll answer that in the meantime.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
Dallas ISD definitely has bus transportation. There are two realms of that. So first of all, your neighborhood school, like, you have access to buses for your elementary, middle, and high school, no matter where that is. There are some rules, like if you're like 1 block away, they might not have a bus. You might.
Okay.
Outside of that, we have these magnet lease choice schools, which are standalone schools that you apply to and are either a lottery or an application based on the school. All of those also come with buses. Now, so they're usually a bus stop at a local school right next to your neighborhood. So you might have to get your kid to that bus stop and then they go. And for fair notice, depending on how far the school is, it might be a longer bus ride if they're going across the city in rush hour. But there are buses to and from schools that are choice and or magnet schools across our district.
Okay.
The only thing there are not going to be buses for is if you opt to like if you say, hey, you know what, I work over here, so I want my kid to go to this elementary school up in North Dallas. You do the open transfer process. If you just do an open transfer to a different like neighborhood school, you're going to be responsible for that transportation.
Okay. Thank you. That's very helpful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was like, I never see buses. So I was
They're
like,
around. They are definitely
just
around.
walking to school uphill in the snow both ways, just okay. I figured out how to join I'm going to do the early childhood one.
So no one's there, but I can talk about it a little bit if you'd like. And Dan, if there's a room that you want to go to, let me know. I'm trying to list all of them here, but maybe there's a particular school that you're interested in. So specifically for the Harley, is that the one you said, Katie?
No, early childhood. No.
Yeah. It's called Harley Early Childhood. It's over where Ben used to work. Basically, if you take Davis all the way down and you cross 35, it's right over there.
Okay.
Is there, you wanted to talk to the early childhood program?
No. Yeah, the DISD early childhood is good. The broad thing. I guess like the other question I had too, sorry to keep throwing stuff out. I clearly I'm like behind the times. One of the things I'd asked you, Amanda, was around the like after school care. Can you just assume that every elementary school has that? So that's where it's like hard to decipher because not every website even like Big Thought I know was at Rosemont.
Yeah.
But
so that is a difficult one. If there's a school that you're interested in, then you're going to have to ask them, do they have aftercare? I would say that most schools do, but I think you also need to learn which one it is. For instance, at Solar Prep, they have aftercare, but I've heard not great things about it. So, they have a contract with the Y. I also know that Dallas ISD is really trying hard to create their own aftercare. It's not at every school. I know it's getting bigger and growing, but it's just not available. I've heard good things about Big Thought. Sometimes the school does aftercare on their own, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
and I'll just quickly add to that. It is generally true that most, if not all, elementary schools have some sort of after-school program, but there's just a lot of different partners. Some of them are Dallas ISD specific. Some of them are partnerships like Amanda mentioned with the YMCA or Big Thought or Parks and Rec Department at the city. And so it really just is. And again, even some of those schools might have 3 of them, but the one with the YMCA only has 50 spots. And the one with, so it's a little bit more nuanced in the school, but that just is a great question to ask every school you're considering. What after-school program do you have?
Okay.
So, Katie, do you want to talk to the early childhood group? Because they have a room.
Yep, let me hop in there.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, you're welcome.
Is that okay?
Yeah. We'll be here for a while, so if you have more questions, come back.
All right, thanks, y'all.
You're welcome. Hi, Paulina.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you for putting me in the room. I ended up being the only person in there.
Yes, come back. I did invite a dad to talk about Rosemont, but life. So how can I help you?
So my question, you'll tell from my question that I'm like on the opposite end of, I think it was Seychelles who gave the advice to take this 1 year at a time. I'm zooming out like 10 years into the future. I have two daughters. Neither of them are like close to being, one is 3. So maybe in a few years we will like look into the actual process for these things. But what I'm most concerned about with choosing a school is finding schools that have dual language for them, because we speak Spanish at home and both girls will be learning English as a second language. And right now, what my husband and I most want is to find like as long as possible throughout their K through 12 time to have dual language options. And that's why we thought about Rosemont, because we assumed that Rosemont Upper is like a continuation of Rosemont Lower, which offers dual language. And since having a middle school dual language option, it would be amazing for us, just thinking about that one particular concern. So I guess that my first question was just to like make sure that we're not making an assumption that is totally wrong. That assumption is that the middle school does feed off of the elementary school. On the website, Rosemont Middle School is listed as a magnet. So I don't know whether maybe it's like not at all actually related to people who are attending Rosemont in elementary. That's the first question that I guess I would love some clarification on.
Okay, so I'm hoping Ben could help me here. But I know up until 3rd grade, it's for neighborhood schools. And then I'm pretty sure you have to apply because it is a magnet program. However, I'm not clear if they continue the dual language. I'm pretty sure they do, because I know teachers that teach there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they continue the dual language through the magnet. I would encourage you to find families, and I'm happy to help you do this whenever you're ready, to find families that attend the schools that you're interested, specifically related to the dual language. For instance, I know at Solar Prep for Boys, they have a dual language program, but I wouldn't call it dual language, right? So Rosemont, they were one of the first schools to have a dual language program in DISD. And so that has been really popular. And it used to be this lottery program, and it was like everyone wanted to get in it. And now they've changed it to an immersion program. So they're saying they're really committed and focused to working on speaking Spanish more than just, English language translation while they're doing the Spanish speaking. So if there are particular schools that you're interested in, I can hook you up with those families. For instance, the family that was supposed to show up tonight, the guy is in charge of the dad's club. So, and I know they're a Spanish speaking family, so that's really important to them. So I can connect you with them. Are there other schools that you're interested in?
I mean, really.
Oh, sorry. Let them answer.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to add, I think 2 things. So the first thing is, do you want the student to actually be in a dual language program? And there are different types. There's like the FLS program and all that. Or do you want them to have a lot of exposure to English as well as Spanish in the program? So as far as Rosemont specifically, the program does go pre-K through 5. So once you're in that program, it's a program you apply for and you're part of that program. That does go pre-K through 5. It is a magnet school in 6th grade, meaning you don't just get automatic admission or moved over. You would have to apply to that magnet school. Though my assumption is there's probably pretty good matriculation. So it's not like you have a 2% chance to get in. So I think there's probably a good chance that you can continue there. I'd also say there's a lot of other schools in the area that have pretty strong dual language programs. I can get a list. They might have a list as well.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
You know, and I think like even at just some of our regular schools that don't have a dual language specialized program. So I think about like L. O'Donnell or Winnetka Elementary, both phenomenal schools. They're A-rated schools year in and year out. It's a predominantly Hispanic population with a lot of Spanish speakers. You can get access to dual language classes and English classes right there, even if it's not an actual program at a great school that's going to give you an education. Like Winnetka has, I think they've won the robotics state championship like 6 years in a row. Like there's other cool stuff going on. So I wouldn't feel confined just to a program at a specific school if you're looking more for just the experience and making sure that both languages get developed at the same time. So I think you got some options there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think to answer like what it is, like if I were to kind of summarize what I'm valuing the most, to me, it really doesn't matter so much whether it's like the one-way dual language, the two-way dual language. I think what matters to me the most is having some kind of like exposure or continuing to practice academic language in Spanish in middle school. And I didn't see as many options for middle school that were like, you know, highlighted in the school profiles as I was seeing.
That's true. Middle school is a little bit different than elementary school.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because like our neighborhood school is, I can't remember what it is, but we're surrounded by a neighborhood elementary schools and all of them have one-way dual language. And I think that for elementary, we would be totally fine because you could like throw a penny and everywhere we would have an option, and the girls don't speak English. So I'm not really worried about them being able to enter a program that allows them, that gives them kind of that structure for learning English while they continue to speak Spanish. We are just being very like anal and thinking about once they're in middle school, having classroom resources that would let them continue to use that academic language past elementary school.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think, you know, Rosebud's definitely a great option. I think there are some other ones, but I'll get a list of what there is so we can get them to you somehow.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Ben, for I think that it's helpful to hear from somebody who's been through the thick of it. And Amanda, I would love, whenever you get the chance, there's no hurry, but whenever you get the chance, if you could connect me to that parent in Rosemont, and then we can ask about just their insights and input, that would be fantastic.
Can you give me your email address?
Yeah, I'll chat you in a sec.
Okay. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, I was on mute. Hi. I just wanted to say thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
It was great to have some one-on-one time with Dr. Gonzalez.
Oh, good. Good.
I don't think we have a chance and, you know, whatever of getting in, but we'll see.
Well, good. I tried to get someone to be the solar prep representative and miserably failed. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know.
You know what? We were really lucky. We did their open houses, and I was the only one on the open house when I did it. Thanks to y'all posting about it is how I knew. So I was the only person on. So it was a one-on-one with the principal, and he's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, I felt like he definitely has a good handle of that school, and it's definitely on our list too. We're just trying to figure out one or two, which one goes where on the list. So do you have any strategy for that? Because I've heard people say the one you really want, pick two. But that is, and I'm like, what? Don't you put that as the first choice? Like,
No, I would make it the first. And then you can always be waitlisted. This is something that I didn't really want to say in front of a lot of DISD representatives, but I'm going to tell you guys that you apply for your schools, you make the decision, you're okay, you're gung-ho, and then on first day of school, if you don't have good feelings, call your other school that you're interested in and say, hey, do you have any openings? That first week of school is crazy. People change their minds all the time. And so if you don't get into your school, keep calling the school that you want to go to and say, hey, you have any openings? You have any openings? Even the first or second week of school, if you're still curious, just give them a call. Especially now, because in my opinion, I don't have the numbers, but enrollment numbers are down. And so pretty much any school that you want to go to, you can go to. So if you apply, you don't get the school you want, call the first week, more than likely you'll be able to get in.
Wow, that's a great tip. Thank you. Don't tell anybody else that. And I'll drop you off a bottle of wine later. But thank you so much.
I know a lot of people have done that with the downtown Montessori, Hernandez. Even though that biomedical school is new, I wouldn't be surprised. People move over the summer. People don't tell the school that they're not coming. And so that first week of school is really kind of an easy way to go to whatever school you want to.
Wow. I would never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
So much appreciated. So thank you for putting this together. It's definitely helped us get a good feel. And Ben Mackey, thank you very much. I follow you on social, and I know you've been super informative since you were elected.
Oh, thank you.
So plan on voting for you again.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. And if I can ever be of help as you go through this process, let me know.
All right. Well,
feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. And
We
y'all have a
appreciate it.
great night.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Paulina, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I had one backup question for Ben. Is that okay?
Of course.
You mentioned that when you apply for a program. So is that, when I get to the point that I'm looking to like make a choice or look for a choice school, would that be different than filling out a transfer?
So are you in the Rosemont district?
No, I guess I should have clarified that. I'm not in the Rosemont district. I'm in further West Dallas. So I'm within DISD, but not within Rosemont's neighborhood boundaries. In the event that we are like, for whatever reason, continue to want to apply to Rosemont instead of sending our kids to the elementary schools that we're zoned to, am I looking for a program application or am I looking for a transfer application?
So let me find out real quick, because I was under the assumption, I'm going online right now to do the process, and actually.
So maybe Ruth can talk to that. Are you able to discuss if someone is interested? Oh, and she jumped off.
Here, let's do this. Are you able to pull people out of rooms, Amanda?
Maybe. Who do you want to talk to?
Nancy Rubio, who's currently in the DISD general.
Well, can you just jump to that page instead?
All right, let's go there.
All right, I'll see you there.
Catherine, did you have a question?
Well, I do have that same question about Rosemont, so I'll hop over there. But I want to talk to you sometime too, just about solar prep, because they're kind of second on my list and I didn't know. I know they have dual. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can call me anytime. If you have questions about dual language, go ahead and jump over, and then I can tell you my experience about solar prep.
Okay, perfect.
You got it, Paulina? Okay, perfect. Now I can send you, Catherine, if you, there you go. That's funny that you jumped over here. I almost jumped into your room. Like I was like, oh, maybe I should ask her some questions. You're on mute.
So sorry about that. I figured just come back to the main group because I know it's being recorded so other parents can see this and get some information about our
Yeah.
campus.
And people are jumping in and out of rooms. I'm kind of watching. But so for the hybrid school, did I see that it's just 4th through 6th?
Well, this year we are 4th through 6th, but we're expanding to 3rd through 8th grade next year.
Okay. 3rd through 8th. And then do you also apply?
Yes, we are a choice school.
Okay.
So again, so it'd be the lottery process. We're also 50-50, just like the schools. I know the UT Southwestern School is also 50-50 model. Solar Prep for boys and girls, they're the same model as well. But we are a hybrid model. So a lot of people don't know what hybrid is. It's the first of its kind. We're the first hybrid school in the state of Texas. So our students they engage in instruction virtually at home and on campus. So this year, our students we're learning from home Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then they come to our campus Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And where is the campus?
Our campus is like Oak Lawn, Highland Park area.
Okay.
It is the old Stephen J. Hayes School. It was a school a long time ago, and now it's our school. It's on the intersection of Prescott and Herschel Avenue.
Okay.
Really close to Lemon Avenue.
Okay. All right. And how many students are there this year?
This year we have 75 students, so 25 for each grade level. And next year we're expanding to be 150 students.
That's nothing. I mean, that's nice because you don't normally get that type of interaction.
Yes. We're big on STEM as well and gamification, virtual learning, all those things, because we want to prepare our students for those high STEM fields like coding, robotics, all those things, and prepare them for the workforce, because a lot of employees right now are working from home. Like they're learning how to, work in a space at home and then take their technology and work from an office or work from a different place. So really preparing the kids with that flexible situation for instruction. So It's been really awesome. We're partnering with a lot of different organizations within Dallas, like with the Dallas Mavericks, we're doing esports. We're also partnering with Bold Idea. Our students are coding, they're in coding competitions. And we're also the first elementary grade school to have career pathways. So our students are exploring the careers of software design, communication design, aerosmith science, and robotics. So we're very excited, very, very excited. So, that's my cat. Sorry, I know you can't see him. So sorry about that. Yeah, but do you have any questions? Is it the first time you've heard about us, Dallas Hybrid Prep?
So I think honestly it is the first time. I heard some stuff about just the virtual program in general, and I thought that was the same, but obviously it sounds like it's different programs.
Yes, so we are working on creating a metaverse for our campus with an organization called Stimuli, and they're in the piloting process of creating an interactive game. So when kids are at home, they enter this like whole virtual platform. They have an avatar, they walk around like Roblox and they can build. And then once class starts, they're like sucked into a classroom with their teacher on Zoom and they start the instruction for the day. So it's really awesome. They drive cars, the kids love it. And the kids we're really big on student voice and choice. So the kids are working with our game designers to create something that fits for us.
Oh,
so
cool.
we're very excited.
Sounds great. It sounds interesting because my son is currently in 1st grade, and kind of the conversation that we were having earlier is like, don't focus on what is he going to be doing for the next 10 years. And so I don't know, that kind of sounds interesting. The whole gaming aspect, he's really into that. When he was doing a virtual school last year, we were getting I tell everyone, my son and I graduated from kindergarten last year. We got really good grades, but he was doing some coding, and it was kindergarten stuff, but he was doing pretty good. It was interesting.
Very much so. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Our kids are coding robots and they're coding video games. They're doing all kinds of stuff. I'm the school counselor. That's not necessarily my fit.
Yeah.
I'm doing more of the social emotional learning and like career, the pathways, and just teaching kids that there's so many different options. Like, and we're not set on one job for our whole lives anymore, right? Like we can do a lot of different things. We can be an accountant and a content designer or a content creator at the same time.
Mhm.
So teaching kids that there's just a plethora of opportunities.
Nice.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
I do have some flyers. If you don't mind, if I can email them or shoot them to you,
Yes,
you can share with
please.
our families. Right now, we're doing campus tours every Wednesday, which is a great day because our students are working virtually.
Okay.
So COVID safe. And we're also on Facebook Live every Monday with more information.
Oh, well, send that to me for sure. I mean, that'll be super easy. I'll be honest, I think most people that are part of this conversation are more entering the elementary age, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if this is a program that's going to be around, it's good to start hearing that school, because again, I think this is the first time that I've heard about the hybrid school, and, in a couple of years, it's going to be super popular, I would guess.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So can I get your email address if you can stick it in the
Here,
chat or something?
I'll stick it in the chat.
Thanks, that will be great.
I'll give you RC1. Christy, oh, did she jump off? She did. How's it going, Nicole?
That's good.
Good.
How are you?
Busy.
I hear ya.
My son is home this week. He tested positive on Sunday, but he's totally fine. He just had a scratchy throat, so we're trying to just fill all the hours while he's home.
I feel your pain right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. I'm gonna check out my breakout room, see. No.
I can look. I don't see anyone in there.
I do have to leave for another event. So I will send you all our information, flyers, things like that. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. But we're having tours every Wednesday. So if you want to see our campus, come on by.
That's great. Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you guys for your time. Thank you so much.
Bye. See, there seems to be a lot of interest at first it was biomedical prep, and now there are quite a few people in the downtown Montessori room. I don't know that really. I see a couple of people in the early childhood, but those seem to be really the most popular ones. Like I said, I think you would get more interest if there was an in-person event, right? You could just stop at each of the tables versus jumping into these rooms. But hopefully,
COVID.
I know. Hopefully, some people are getting their questions answered.
I'm sure.
Hello. Hi, girls.
Hey.
Oh, who's a dog and who's a cat?
I don't know.
It's just her.
Yeah, so me and Juliet had a nice conversation, but that was the only person in Dealey for the Dealey breakout.
Okay.
So you're gonna have a good chance of getting in.
Well, I was looking at the one thing that we didn't really talk about, or I didn't get to show, is how many seats are open.
Oh.
So at Dealey, it shows that there are 33 pre-K and none for kindergarten.
Oh, is that how, where did you see that? You see it like it's on the website somewhere?
Yeah, it's kind of, in my opinion, Nicole, it's in a little.
Where are they?
in the sneaky area. I can
I'm
put.
surprised it's only 33 because how do they, why wouldn't it be 40? Oh, no, it is 33. That's right. 33 pre-K because there's 11, there's 3 classes and 11 11 and 11 and 11. There's 11 pre-K in each class. There's 3 classes. And so the kinders are all going to move up.
Right. But then it looks like maybe there's another class that gets added in first grade.
Yes, that's what happened. Like it doubles in first grade. So first grade is the best time to, if you have kids that are going into first grade, that's the best time to apply if you didn't get in at pre-K. So.
And yeah, it looks like there's plenty of room at Harry Stone.
Yeah.
So Amanda, as far as the formatting, like this is Magnet, ours is like a 1-pager that's horizontal. They're all on 1 page. Like, is that like what would be better? This looks different than last year's.
No, I just mean
magnets.
it's not easy to find. That's all. Like I was
Oh, not
saying,
the format, like the location.
on the website. Like there's just so much information on the website. It's kind of in a difficult place to find, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
I'm going to jump off, Amanda, but if you
Okay.
find anybody needing daily stuff, I'm available anytime.
I really appreciate you spending the time to jump on.
No problem.
Okay, let's go. Wait, can I tell you something?
Yes, tell me something.
Do your kids go to Dealey?
No, do you remember
Yeah.
Elliot?
Do you remember Elliot? We went to that cool place in Fort Worth together.
Oh yeah, when I had a crazy hair day, when I wear all those bows that I hate now. Yeah, I remember.
He
I have
goes-
a whole stack of that.
He goes to a school called Solar Prep for Boys.
Cool. Is there a solar prep for girls?
There is. There
Mm-hmm.
is.
So, because my other friend, who has another friend, goes to solar prep for girls.
Well, maybe.
Wait, can I tell you something?
Sorry.
So what's that place where it's only a girls' place?
A school? Solar Prep for Girls?
No, it's a place for like older girls, like college and high school. Barnard. No?
There's a lot.
What is it?
That
What
was
are-
it where your piano teacher's daughter goes?
Who?
Kaylee's daughter?
No.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after we read our story. We're gonna go to bed.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Wait, what's it?
Hello. Thanks for jumping on. I really appreciate it. I hope
You're welcome.
people
We were looking for Nicole. We're like, where did she go?
hoping that you were able to answer some questions for some people.
Yes, but the parents are awesome.
Good.
They have all the answers.
Well, I know it's after hours and I know you. I appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Thank you.
I was just thinking, let's see here. I was saying earlier, it seems like the biomedical school, there's been quite a few people jumping into that room. Also the downtown Montessori. I've seen a couple of people in Sudi. So they're just sort of all over the place. It seems like there's still a couple of people in the early childhood room. But if you guys wanted to jump off, I think it's fine. If anyone has any questions, I can definitely point them to tomorrow night for the virtual fair tomorrow night. And then I have Nicole's email. She knows I know where to find her. So I can always send people their way. But good luck in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you're really busy with all the informational sessions.
Thank you. I'm
Have
gonna
a good
check
night.
in on Sudi and then I'm gonna log off, and I'm gonna check on Sudi before I go.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this event.
You're welcome. Do you have any other questions I can answer for you?
No, I went to one of the schools of my interest and I wanted to chat with the person. I can't remember the lady's name. It was somebody talking about magnets and evaluations, but I might as well join the webpage and find the email of this person and ask
Okay, if
certain
you
questions about admissions and
okay,
newcomers.
I might be able to answer them for you if you want, or I can find her email and send it to you.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, because my question is basically what consideration they give to kids who are newcomers, which is this my family's case. We've been here for almost a year, and I know my children's grades are in the process of getting to their potential, which may eventually affect their entry or not to a school of choice.
So what school are you interested in?
The Vanguard program of Sidney Lanier.
Okay, so in my opinion, and I am not related to the district at all, but Sidney Lanier or Jesus Morales is a small enough school that if you're interested, you will likely get in. So
Okay. I got the mail of a person in the school. I already did the interest enrollment or the web process to get in the school. And I just now joined the breakout room with somebody who told me something similar to what you're telling me, that like if I go ahead and ask the person who's responsible for that process in the school, there might be a consideration.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know there's a lot of other factors that go into, you know, getting into the Vanguard program. But I mean, Laura, I've been talking to Laura for a while, and you know, she says that there's no wait list, so it's not there's not just hundreds of people applying. So I feel like if you apply, you will likely enter. But again, I know, like you said, academics and all of that kind of stuff, that part I'm not as familiar with, but I'm happy to connect you with, you know, any particular person, whether it's through the magnet program or if you want to talk to someone at the school, either one.
Great. Yeah, I think I have one mail I was given, but could I, if in case this mail that I have does not work or is not the person I should contact, could I reach out and maybe send you a message using Facebook, for example?
Yeah, you can comment on any of the Facebook, the event, or any through Raising Oak Cliff, that's fine. And I'll find you the right person. So whoever you need to talk to, you just let me know. Whatever your question is, we'll figure it out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Amanda.
Hi there.
Look, thank you so much for allowing this. We did our downtown Montessori Academy, and so I have Seychelle. I'm the principal over there, so I have Seychelle. Yeah, same here. She just wanted to know, is it okay for her to wrap up? Did you need her to come back over into this main room, or?
No, I just wanted to make sure. I noticed that you had quite a few visitors, so that's exciting.
Yes.
No, if you guys need to fall off, that's totally fine, but I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's extra time and outside of the normal work hours. So
oh no, ma'am, are you kidding me? This is what we do. No, this is our high time season. So thank you for thinking to do this. So I appreciate the invitation. It was truly appreciated.
Well, good. And I hope to see you in the future. I try to do this around the same time every year. Just, you know, usually it's a little earlier, but things have been crazy, so we're just trying to been figuring it out as we go. But it was nice to
Absolutely.
meet you. And now that I see your face and I know who you are, I know Seychelle, she lives in the neighborhood with me, but now I have someone else to send questions to related to the school.
Please do. Yes, we'd love to have them.
Okay, thank you
Let me
very
jump
much.
back in there. You're so welcome. Let me jump back in there and let her know that we're good, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right, I see some new people have joined. Does anyone have questions or want to go to a different room or anything that I can do to help the process? I'm here. And if there's a school that you're interested in that there wasn't a representative tonight, the crazy thing about Oak Cliff is that so many people have picked so many different schools for whatever reason. And so again, if there's a particular school that you're interested in, I probably know someone that attends that school. So don't hesitate to send me a message or post on Raising Oak Cliff or however you want to get a hold of me. I'm happy to try and connect you to the right people.
Hi, Amanda. We just finished our early childhood or the pre-K one, which was amazing. Oh, and we have one of the amazing parents here.
Good. I'm glad you joined. Again, I think it's important. Some people think, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to send my kid to school, but like I was saying, for me, it was really helpful to just have that introduction for my son into the pre-K4 program.
Yep, I agree. And we actually had great questions. We talked about the different types of programs, age, the bus transportation, potty training. So yeah, that's the number one question we always get: is potty training required for 3-year-olds or 4? The answer is no. And then just different things and how families can qualify. We actually went over the pre-K application.
Oh,
so in
good.
case it stirred up some questions. We talked about how family can qualify with income or what kind of documents, because that's always other set of questions. But we'll be having the first weekend of April, we're actually going to have a pre-K information session that we'll be able to actually kind of go over the applications, talk about the different types of programs, and parents can ask us questions via phone call, via chat at the time. So, I think as soon as we get that up and running, marketing will be okay if I'm able to share that with you. That way you can share it within your community.
Okay, great.
I think we had some great questions in our group today.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to look this up, but also, Ben, you might need to help me with this question. Jill was asking, is there there's one school that has Montessori and dual language? I know, yeah. Well, first of all, the answer is yes. I can say for sure that Onisimo Hernandez is a school that has both. And I was just going to look and see if I could find it online. Let's see.
Yeah, I can put this in the chat here. I have the list of, all right, this is probably what you're doing. I have the list of Montessori schools right there that I just put in, and the list of dual language two-way programs. So we can see where there's overlap between those two pages, but some of them might be different programs. Sometimes you might be able to be in a Montessori and in dual language. It really is just going to be a question for those individual schools.
I don't know. The thing I don't know is if the downtown Montessori has.
Oh, but these are magnets, so.
Downtown, Ida B. Wells in downtown is a two-way dual language campus as well.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, and so, but it's, again, like it was mentioned earlier, it's like depending where, because it doesn't always start in pre-K. So they're a little bit, every school is a little bit differently because it all requires on the staffing. And
Right.
so I know they were working on a two-way dual language there as well. And that's why I always recommend parents, it's great to kind of visit the school, talk to the school, if you're able to talk to the campus administration, the team, to really get to know what the instructional program is. And that's kind of what I talked to with Hannah and a couple of other parents. Like, there's so many different options, like two-way dual language, but we also have Montessori, right? We got single gender, we have personalized learning, we have STEM, like which type of environment you think is going to be a best fit for your child?
So the other thing I think Jill was asking, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think there is a way, and I kind of wish someone from the application process was still on here, but if you go on dallasisd.org / what is it, choose Dallas ISD, there's a way for you to compare the schools. I haven't done this in a couple of years, but it's the school finder option. And so, you know, if you're interested in kindergarten, and you can go through this and select what it is that you're interested in. I'll just type in my address. And so other academic programs. So if I say two-way dual language in Montessori, next, best fit. And so there's going to be a list here that shows you what's available. So and it'll tell you what's closest to you. So then these little markers should tell you all the things, whatever you're interested in. Well, that's not true. That's not Montessori.
Well, you also want to look at the score on the right. The 1 to 3 tells you how closely it matched.
Okay.
So that first one had a 2 out of 3, which means it didn't meet one of your criteria, which was the Montessori.
Right. And so that's what I was trying to find. I know there are, like Hernandez and the downtown has both. All right. But point being is this DallasISD.org/choose Dallas ISD should be able to find and compare the schools that you're interested in. All right.
I have a question about that. I noticed that they have like a ranking on the schools. Sorry, hold on.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry. I noticed that each of the schools have a ranking on like different criteria and stuff. Is there any way to know kind of what that really means? Because I was kind of confused by it, because like some of the schools that I know, some people that go to that are like, this is a great school, they like ranked a lot lower than some other schools that I've not heard some great things about. And so I was just kind of wondering, like, I don't know, even what those rankings mean, like the scores, like the ABC stuff.
So
I can answer.
Yeah,
I
go
can
ahead.
answer that. So you're referring to the
Performance rating.
the report card performance rating, A, B, C, D, F, correct? So those are, and we actually haven't had them in a couple of years now. But those are just based on state law, plus Dallas ISD has its own kind of system for it. It looks at test scores and how well kids perform on test scores. It looks at culture of the schools and what the staff and the student culture is like as measured by surveys. So it's a very quantitative ranking of those schools. It is not the end all be all. The test scores, the way of a survey works is not distinctly like it's the end all be all of everything. So that's why you're going to see discrepancies. You know, there are C schools that people love and are excellent. Sometimes these schools are growing and really improving. They might have had a new principal or whatnot. So there's a lot of other factors that go into place. It should be used as an idea to benchmark. Like if you do see an F school, you should ask some questions and dig into that a little bit more. But the difference between an A or a B school is really it's just in what the numbers happen to be that year, and it is not fully descriptive of the entire school and the program. So I wouldn't be worried about that, or I would use it as a guidepost, but a starting point.
Thank you. That was helpful.
And
are those scores also, or ratings, whatever, are they a couple years behind maybe? Because I noticed that
Yes.
one of the new
So
schools didn't have.
So the any ratings that you see currently there are from the 2019-20 school year. No, not even that. They are from the 2018-19 school year. So these are 4-year outdated. We've been through a pandemic and all that since then. We will probably have new scores in the fall next year for this past year. But even still, you take that for a grain of salt because it's been a pandemic year as well. So yeah, they are definitely old and outdated given the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, when I just to be honest, in my when I was doing research, that's not even something that I really looked at, because once you start getting into numbers, it's so overwhelming because it's well, you got to look at the student teacher ratio. You have to look at, just everything, test scores and all the things. And then, you could even get into what are the teacher evaluations of the school, and it's just not fair to look at during a pandemic, to be quite honest. But yeah, there's just a lot of numbers that are available. But for me, the location and what the programs that were offered were more important. Also class sizes for me was an important decision. Were you able to talk to the schools that you were interested in, Hannah? Or is there some?
I just talked to the early learning or the preschool because that's the age we are, and there's so many schools that I'm kind of looking at right now that it was better just to talk to them.
Okay, if there is a particular school that you're interested in, don't hesitate to send me an email if you want to talk to a parent, especially someone in the neighborhood where they send their kid. I can more than likely find a parent for you to talk with if there's a question about a program or after school care or whatever it is. Don't hesitate to send me an email.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think I've had all my questions answered, so I think I'm going to hop off. But thank y'all so much for doing this. This is I've been looking at this for a couple months now, and when I heard that y'all are doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can finally get my questions answered and not have to dig through a million things. So
good. Well, I'm glad you're able to join. Thank you very much. All right. Well, it's almost 8 o'clock. It seems like Caitlin's just hanging out by herself. Kay's just hanging out by herself. So I'm going to send a message here.
All right. Thanks for hosting this, Amanda. This was awesome.
You're welcome. Again, I wish we could do it in person, maybe next year.
Next year. Feel free to send out my contact information to anyone, and so if I can be helpful.
Okay.
So. All right, y'all.
I'm signing off too. Bye.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
How are y'all? I saw my friend. You guys doing okay?
Yes. How's your little one? It's probably not so little no more.
Good. Yeah. Clara's 1.5. Olivia's at Juanicimo Hernandez 4. Yep. And she's doing good, thriving, loving it.
Awesome. Awesome. Super excited to hear that. Bye.
And speaking of, I'm going to go help put them to bed. Bye. See y'all
Bye,
later.
everyone.
Caitlin, did anyone join?
Well, I didn't know Vicki Ramirez was your neighbor. She's Cash's teacher.
Vicky Ramirez.
She said she lives by you anyway.
I'm not sure if I know who that is.
Well, she's Cash's teacher, or maybe one of her kids goes to Solar, so maybe it's from Solar. But
Well, okay, so I think she lives in Stevens Park.
oh, okay. Well, anyway, she popped in to say hi because she's Cash's teacher, but that was it.
All right, well, we can always try again next
Yeah,
year.
it's okay. Yeah, no, I wasn't disappointed being on. Plus, I felt like there was some good drop-ins on some of the features of Hog pre-breakout anyway. So.
Yeah. Kay, did you have anyone jump in? If you're still there. I think I saw some people in your room.
Yeah, I had one person and we had a good long chat and we kind of were already acquainted from Rosemont. So it was a good little catch up and talk about the process in general and Sudie in particular. It was good.
Oh, good. Well, as always, I appreciate your time. I know everyone's busy, so hopefully next year it'll be in person.
Thanks for keeping it up, Amanda. I know, right? But thanks for keeping it up, Amanda. I mean, I think there's a ton of relevance, and I know it's a lot of work. So thank you
and I
for
think
keeping it
too,
going.
like there's new options that open every year, and so the process in some ways has become more streamlined, but there's also more choices and it's in a way more overwhelming.
Well, I didn't
There's
even know
more
about
moving
this
parts.
hybrid school. I had no idea. Yeah, you can come in. I didn't know this, and they're going to be 3rd through 8th grade next year.
We have a friend who is in 7th grade this year who wanted to do it, but this year it was only 4th through 6th. So I'm actually going to text his mom now and tell her that it's an option for next year because he apparently was really thriving in 6th grade doing virtual. So
she said it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday is virtual. And then they have just this huge focus on, anything electronic. So whether it's games or coding or whatever.
Esports and all that kind of stuff. Cool.
And there's
I'll
only
give her a heads up for sure.
She said there's only 75 kids this year. So it's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
All right. Well, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Amanda.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.